Welcome to the Snoozecast, the podcast designed to help you fall asleep. On the Snoozecast, we read excerpts from public domain works and occasionally original stories. We'd like to thank our listeners. If you enjoy our show, please share it with a friend. The best place to listen to us is on our website, snoozecast.com. From there, you'll be able to download or play single episodes without having to change any autoplay settings on your device or in your podcast directory. This episode is brought to you by Golden Cumulonimbus Clouds. Tonight, I'll be reading a snoozy opening to The Flower Fields of Alpine, Switzerland by George Flemwell, originally published in 1911. You'll hear lots of descriptions of mountains and flowers on mountains. Let's get cozy. Close your eyes. Relax your body into the softness of your bed. Now, take a few deep breaths. Chapter 3. The May Fields. This is the hour, the day, the time, the season sweet. Quick, hasten, laggard feet, brook not delay. Maytide will not last. Forth, forth, while yet 'tis time, before the spring is past. By Lewis Morris. Time to rejoice. It is essential that we arrive amid the Alpine fields in May, for we must watch them from the very beginning. To postpone our coming until June would be to miss what is amongst the primest of Alpine experiences, the awakening of the earlier gems in their shy yet trustful legions. Indeed, in June, in any ordinary year, we should risk finding several lovely plants gone entirely out of bloom, except perhaps quite sparsely in some belated snow-clogged corner. For, be it remembered, we shall not be climbing higher than this region. We do not propose to pursue Flora as she ascends to the topmost pasture. As for following the very general rule and coming only in late July, it is quite out of the question. We must come in May, and it should be towards the middle of the month, although the exact date will, of course, be governed by the advanced or retarded state of the season. Speaking generally, however, the 15th is usually neither too early nor too late. It is wiser to be a day or so too early than otherwise, because at this altitude it is remarkable how soon nature is wide awake when once she had opened her eyes. The earliest floral effects are of the most fleeting in the Alps, and, like most things fleeting in this changeful world, they are of the most lovely. To some it may appear laughable to say that one day is of vast importance, but it is only the truth. Down on the plains, things are positively sluggish by comparison, though an artist, wishing to paint them at their best, knows only too well how rapid even are these. As in Greenland, up here, at 4,800 feet, vegetation adapts itself in all practical earnest to the exigencies of shortened seasons. June's glories are quick in passing, so, alas, are July's. But the glories of May, having usually but a brief portion of the month in which to develop, pass, as it were, at breathless speed. Yes, if ever there is a nervous energy of nature, it is in May in Alpine regions, and it behoves us to be equally quick and timely. For instance, this year, 1910, I was struck by the fact that 2 weeks after the last vestige of an avalanche had cleared from off a steep slope at the foot of the Breyas, 3 or 4 cows belonging to the hotels were grazing contentedly on rich green grass, and the crocus and soldanella had already bloomed and disappeared. When we quit the plains, their face is well set towards June. Spring's early timidity and delicacy are past. The primrose, scilla, hepatica, violet, and wood anemone have retired into a diligent obscurity, and the fields are already gay with the orchids and the globe flower. But up here at Champex, we find ourselves back with the crocus, springing fresh and glistening from the brown, snow-soaked sward, and with the as yet scarcely awakened cowslip. As we climb up from Martigny, the slopes grow more and more wintry-looking, and we may perhaps begin to regret leaving the wealth of blushing apple blossom which dominates the azure-blue fields of Myosotis below the Georges du Dernand. And this regret will probably become more keen when we plunge into the forests just below Champex and find them still choked with snow and ice. But we are soon and amply repaid for what at first seems a mad ostracism on our part. 1 or 2 brief days, full of intense interest in watching Alpine nature's unfolding, and all regrets have vanished, and we have quite decided that these May fields are a paradise wherein, in Meredith's words, of all the world you might imagine gods to sit. The crocus is not for long alone in making effective display. The soldanella soon joins it after a few hours of warm sunshine. In fact, in many favored corners, it is already out when we arrive, and Guillaume Montanum is no laggard. Neither are the 2 gentians, Verna and Excisa, nor the yellow and white box-leaved Polygola. By the time the 20th of the month has come, the pastures are thickly sown with pristine loveliness, and by the 25th this is at the height of perfection, a height to which nothing in paint or in ink can attain. Flora has touched the fields with her fairy wand, and they have responded with amazing alacrity. Turn which way we will, the landscape is suffused with the freshest of yellow, rose, and blue, and broad, surprising acres of these bewitching hues lie at our very door, coming, as it were, in our winter's heart to build a tower of song. Mr. A. F. Mummery has a fine passage touching this subject, a passage that may well be quoted here, for it sums up in admirable fashion all that we ourselves are feeling. Every step, he says, is health, fun, and frolic. The troubles and cares of life, together with the essential vulgarity of a plutocratic society, are left far below, foul miasmas that cling to the lowest bottoms of reeking valleys. Above, in the clear air and searching sunlight, we are afoot with the quiet gods, and men can know each other and themselves for what they are. The quiet gods, yes, indeed, here, if anywhere, in May and June, is quietness. Here, at this season, these hosts of lovely flowers are indeed born to blush unseen, and, in man's arrogant phrase, to waste their sweetness on the desert air. But what nonsense it is, this assumption that the flowers are wasted if not seen by us. It is not for that reason we should be here. It is not because the flowers would benefit one iota by our presence. What is it to them, whether they have or have been seen by man? We are what suns and winds and waters make us, they say, and, in saying thus, they speak but the substantial truth. Their history is one of strenuous self-endeavor. Their unique and dazzling loveliness they have attained alone, oblivious of man's presence in the world. After age-long effort, from which their remarkable happiness and beauty are the primest distillations, man stumbles upon them in their radiance, declares they are languishing for want of his admiration, and at once commiserates with them upon their lone and wasted lot. What fond presumption! How typically human! Is there not proof abundant of nature's profuse indifference to mankind? Why, then, should man assume that all things are made for him? Why, in his small, lordly way, should he say, as he is forever saying, the sun, the moon, the stars have their raison d'être in me? In a sense he is right, but not in the arrogant sense he so much presumes. All things help to make him him. The sun, moon, and stars are for him, inasmuch as he would not be what he is. He would not be, probably, man, did they not exist. But neither, then, would the black beetle be as it is. Do not let him forget the high claims of the black beetle. Man stands so large before the eyes of man, he cannot think of earth but as his own. All his philosophies can guess no plan that leaves him not on his imagined throne. Let us be humble. Let us merge ourselves modestly in the scheme of things. It is not to cheer up the flowers in their loneliness that we ought to be with them here in the spring. We ought to be here because of all that the flowers and their loveliness can do for us in lifting us above the essential vulgarity of a plutocratic society, and in revealing us to ourselves and to each other as rarely we are revealed elsewhere. Here, with these pastures, are health and vigor that is quiet and restful. Here is unpretentiousness more radiant more glorious than the most dazzling of pretensions. Here, if we will, we can come and be natural. Here, where man, that feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, as Mr. Bernard Shaw calls him, can be, in the fullest sense, a man, and be in no wise ashamed of it. For here, in a word, is nature, unaffected, unconventional, unconscious of herself, yet in the highest degree efficient. The purity of it all is wonderful, and it is this, with its beneficent power, that we waste. If spring is reckoned pure below, among the foul miasmas that cling to the lowest bottoms of reeking valleys, how much purer must it not be reckoned under Alpine skies? The amelioration is already marked after we have risen a few 100 feet from the plains. Our minds climb with our bodies, both attuning themselves to the increasing purity of our surroundings, until at some 5,000 feet we feel, to use a homely expression, as different as chalk from cheese. And nothing aids more potently in this attunement than do the fields of springtime blossoms. Why bloomest thou so? Asks the poet of these flowers. Why bloomest thou so in solitary loveliness, more fair in this thy artless beauty than the rare and costliest garden plant? The question has been answered, or, at any rate, answered in important part, and far more truthfully than by any blind, patronizing remark about wasted beauty. Wasted. It is an accusation which the flowers should hurl at us. Wasted? Yeah, wasted. And so far as we do not yet take advantage of the Alpine spring, wasted, in so far as we arrive only in late July or early August. Not should our praise be counted amongst surprises. Champex's fields bear witness to it, being no mere idle adulation. On the flat, damp grassland, intersected by sparkling glacier streams, which stretches away to the north of the lake, great and brilliant groups of Caltha palustris, only the common marsh marigold, it's true, but of how much more luscious, brilliant hue than down upon some lowland marsh, lie upon a vast rosy carpet of Primula farinosa, effectively broken here and there by the rich purple tints of Bartzia alpina and the ruddier hues of pedicularis. And this wondrous wealth of yellow and rose is found again on the extensive sunny slopes to the south of the lake. But here Gentiana verna asserts its bright blue presence amongst the primula, and the effect is even more astonishingly gay than it is to the north. Like Count Smoreltork's politics, it surprises by himself. On these southern slopes, too, are quantities of Michelle's daisy, enlivening still more with their glistening whiteness the beautiful color scheme. There are also colonies of the two pinguiculas, mauve and creamy white, also of the quaint Alpine crowfoot, and of the yet more quaint, aesthetically tinged Ajuga pyramidalis, the most arresting of the bugles, and of the demure little Alpine pellicula, varying from blue through mauve to reddish pink, even to white. Here also is the sulfur anemone, just unfolding the earliest of its clear citron-colored blossoms. But to see this anemone to fullest advantage, we must turn to the drier pastures to the east and north of the lake, where it is scattered in endless thousands.